Hey there, welcome to day 221 of our BU 365-day challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. We're doing one thing every day this year to improve ourselves in some way, shape, or form. And for the month of August, we are focusing on the life framework area of confidence. We're doing things to make us feel more confident. And yesterday we picked an area of confidence that we want to change or improve in. And today we're going to hop into the SOAP framework, which is the framework that we use, that we're installing in our subconscious, so that it works automatically whenever we're faced with a challenge, a situation, a decision to make, all the little obstacles and roadblocks and things that pop into our life, so we don't have to consciously think and work so hard on ensuring we get the best outcome for ourselves. So today, the S in our SOAP framework stands for story or situation. And when we're thinking about that, it's our story. We're telling ourselves stories all the time. We're in our head replaying events from the past, current situations, and then future situations, what we think might happen in the future. And we're playing out all these scenarios in our head all the time. I guess S could stand for our scenario as well as story or situation. But what we're going to do today, and I looked up a bunch of different things about storytelling, tips for storytelling, how to tell a good story, and I think I might share those. I wasn't going to because it's all convoluted, but I think I will, because when we're telling ourselves a story, we want to tell ourselves the best version of that story, or the most detailed version, so that we can analyze in our subconscious and ask ourselves, is this real or am I imagining things? Am I attributing characteristics and intent to people, places, and things that might not really be there? It's just based on when I was in the situation in the past. That's how I felt, and that's what I've experienced. And our experiences are real and valid, and we want to draw on them as we're telling our past and present story, because that's our current story. All the things that have happened to us in the past with respect to confidence lead to where we are right now with our level of confidence. So we want to tell ourselves that story, but then we don't want to stay there, right? It's an area we want to change in our life. So we want to imagine and visualize and write the story in our mind and imagination how we want it to be. Our future story isn't written yet. We can create whatever we want. And we do that by focusing on the things that we want and designing that situation, that level of confidence in the situation we're working on, to be exactly the way we want it to be. Because if we visualize it and we think about it, we'll create that in our lives. I'm not going to go into all the details of how that works, the universal laws and stuff. If you're curious about that, you can ask or go Google it. But that's how the world works. Everything that comes into our life, we actually have a role in creating. So why not create the things we want versus the things we don't want? And the truth is, whatever we're thinking about, whatever we're focusing on, whatever we're feeling, that's what we're creating in our life. That's why this step of the process is so important. We have to know where we've been, where we are right now, and where we want to go. And that forms the gap that the rest of the SOAP framework will fill in over the next 3 days. The O, the A, and the P. We're going to not just figure out where we are and where we want to be, we're going to actually start filling in that gap. So what are some tips for telling a great story? And of course, our action item today, might as well share that right now, like it has been the previous months, is to say and tell ourselves the story of what is my current story. And part of that is understanding what are your past experiences that have played into the current situation. And then I say C to D, we're determining the C to D. I used to say A to Z, but that's really far apart. C to D is our current story, where we are right now, and our desired story, where we want to be. And so we're going to tell ourselves both those stories today so that we can identify that gap, because we can't start filling the gap in, number one, until we know where we want to go, and number two, till we know what that gap is, where we are now and where we want to go. That's how we start filling that in. So what are some good tips for storytelling, telling an effective story to ourselves or to anyone else? Number one, choose a clear central message. So yesterday we selected the specific area of confidence that we're going to work on. I'm working on confidence with my interactions with my family as we help my mom move. And what's the past been like for that? Because we've had a lot of past experience with that and a lot of past moves. What's the current situation? What's going on right now? And I am pulling out the emotion and the feelings and the past drama and trauma and focusing on what's going on right now. Just the facts of what's going on right now. And then what do I want the desired situation to be? What do I want the outcome to be of this particular experience? How do I want it to go? And then I start to create that. So be clear on what it is that you're working on. Number 2, embrace the conflict. And boy, that's a hard one for some of us. But we need to embrace the places where we butt heads and where things aren't working out, because that's where our personal area of growth and improvement lies. When our lives are running around smoothly and everything's hunky-dory, we just keep going through and doing the same things and thinking the same way that we've always been thinking. But it's when we have challenges and problems and obstacles and roadblocks and things that are thwarting us from getting what we want, the way we want, or the way we think things should be for us in our lives, that we have to take action. We have to think differently, feel differently, look at situations from a different perspective, or we have to change ourselves in some way, because the bottom line is the only thing we can really change ever is ourselves, and the way we look at things, the way we choose to respond and react to different situations. And it's true in the area of confidence, just like any other area of our life. I think it's kind of an interesting secret that once we realize the only thing we can actually control is ourselves and how we respond and react and grow and interact with different things and the different experiences we have, it allows us to take back all of our personal power, and we stop letting people make us feel bad by the things they say or do. We stop taking responsibility for other people's actions, the things they say they do, because we have no control over them. It's like thinking we can control the weather. I don't know anybody yet that can do it, and maybe someday somebody will invent a weather or a time machine and they'll have control over things. But as the world stands and as we're sitting here now, no. So we can only control ourselves. But that means we have a huge point of power if we choose to control ourselves in ways that make us better and make the world a better place. Let's look at some more of these. Number 3, have a clear structure, meaning I like to follow a structure. Remember, we've covered a few different ones of these. We did the who, what, where, when, why, and how. We did the have a conversation with an imaginary friend. We've done, I think, storyboarding. We've done a 5-step process of how to tell a story, etc. So pick a structure or a framework that works for you if that helps you to tell a story. Sometimes we overcomplicate things. Yes, I do that. And we don't need to. Sometimes we just need to think about what's the past been like about our confidence in this particular area? What's the present like with respect to our confidence in this certain area? And what do we want our confidence level to be in this type of situation in the future? It can be as simple as that. Answer those 3 questions. Boom, boom, boom. A couple sentences about each, and you're done. And you're clear on your story and your message. And you've identified that gap. Number 4, mind your personal experiences, meaning look back and look at situations where you've been super duper confident in the past, and what can you draw from them that we'll use going forward as we fill that gap. Number 5, engage your audience. Well, you are your audience, so make sure that you're telling a story that engages you and all your emotions. Number 6, observe good storytellers, meaning watch as you're going about your day and find people that are great storytellers. All know people that are fantastic storytellers. They'll start to tell a story and they just suck you right into the story. I'm working on that, not one yet, but hope to be someday, right? And then figure out how you want to tell your story. Do you want to write it down? Do you want to just record it? Do you want to just take a couple of notes on a Post-it? Do you want to just, I'll just capture mine in my journal. Like, I'm keeping a journal along with this challenge, so I'll just capture mine in there. So I already know the medium. I'm going to write mine down. And then finally, narrow your scope of your story. It's really easy, and I noticed that whenever I'm arguing with someone, I tend to, and I didn't think I did, but I totally do it when I observe my own actions. I totally do this. I pull in all kinds of crap from the past, right? And I start flinging that as if that's right or fair, right? Because nobody can change their past. I can't, and neither can anyone else. But I'll pull things in from that if I'm in an argument, because, you know, that's my examples of how this person has interacted with me in the past. And that's not really very effective, because people, when you bring those things up a lot of times, they just negate them and spit them right back at you. And so you can do that, but it's not super duper effective. So make sure that you're staying pertinent and true to the scope of what we're doing here. We're just, again, super simple. What's my past situation that is pertinent, my past experiences that are applicable to this particular area of confidence that I'm working on? what is my current situation? How do I feel about it right now? We did that. We rated on, well, we didn't do this specific area of confidence, but I would say do that on a scale of 1 to 10. How do you feel about your level of confidence in this situation right now? 10 being awesome, 0 not so much, or 1 not so much. And then what do you want your desired situation to be? How exactly do you want your confidence to be in the area of dealing with the current or with the future situation, or a similar situation to this in the future? So I would, for example, think about someday my mom is going to have to move out of her Texas house. And so that means we're going to have to go through this process again. We've gone through it, I think, 4 or 5 times already. But again, we're going to have to do that. And how do I want that story to be? Exactly how do I want that interaction in my confidence and that situation and experience to be and feel, etc. So that's it. That is our assignment today. Our story about this particular level of confidence. Where we are now, past where we want to be, because that'll form the gap we're going to explore for the next 3 days. Any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow. Bye.